would actually kill, many of the English soldiers would actually kill monks, Thai monks, because they thought the Thai monks were spies. So many Thai monks actually got shot by the English soldiers. Now I'm repaying my ancestors' debts. But the Burmese supporters told him, look, if any English soldiers come here on patrol, there's a really good chance they'll just shoot you. Or they'll interrogate you, beat you up, even torture you. You can't have that. So you really better go back to Thailand. But you can't go on the main roads because the British are there. You'll have to go through the jungles. So they sent this monk through very remote jungle paths where there was no villages, where he had to walk for days upon day without any food, and only gathering water from streams whenever he could find one. And this monk told that story, that he'd been walking for days in the wilderness. Now this is during the Second World War, that's like 50, 60 years ago, 60 years ago. And that area was complete jungle and wilderness. There was no one there at all. And as he was walking, after 3 or 4 days, he started getting so weak, because it's very steep mountains. He got so weak, he started to think he might not make it. He might not survive. He was getting that tired and still a long way from the first village. So he started thinking of some of the stories he had read from the time of the Buddha, where sometimes heavenly beings, devas, would come down to feed a monk. And he thought to himself, you know, if there are devas around, if they really do exist, surely someone can actually come and help me, because I'm a good monk. I've been keeping my precepts, I've been practicing meditation, I'm just doing my duty as a monk. Surely if there are devas, they should look after monks such as me. And according to his biography, he thought that thought, and 5 minutes later, he turned a corner of a path, and there along the path was a man, the first man he'd seen in many days, waiting for him. He had in his hand one of these tiffin cans, you know, this series of metal cans, 2, 3 or 4 of them, with a handle on them. As he went past this man, the man, he said, who was dressed not in jungle clothes, but in very nice clothes like you'd see high society men in Bangkok wear, which surprised him. This man made an entry to him and said to this monk, Nimon Krap, which is the words of invitation that a lay person wants to offer you something. So he stopped, and this man, on the side of the road, in the middle of nowhere, gave this delicious food, hot, to this monk. Not jungle food either. For those monks who've been in the jungle, you get usually either potatoes and usually animal meat, because that's all they have, like monkey hand, or sort of squirrel or something, whatever they catch, because that's all they had in the jungle. Now he had rice and beautiful curry. Now this was so strange that there was a person, he hadn't seen a village in days. Where did this guy come from? How did he know there was a monk coming? And how did he got hot food ready to serve, and delicious food as well, and wearing such beautiful clothes? So this monk, you're not supposed to ask anything when you receive alms food, but this monk couldn't stop himself. Where are you from? And this man never answered. He just took out his finger and pointed. It was a deva who came to feed a monk. Now when I was doing my wandering in Sri Lanka, we call it Charaka, in Thai Tudon, the period after one's 5th year as a monk, you take all your possessions and wander through the jungles of Thailand, either visiting great teachers or finding nice mountains or caves or forests to meditate in solitude. It's a wonderful time of your life. And I was wandering through this mountain range in the northeast of Thailand, and even though I had a good meal that day, I hadn't seen any place to fill up my water canteen, and I was getting very, very tired and dehydrated. Actually, a short time later, after this experience, I actually did get some dehydration and had a bit of heat stroke. very lucky to survive, because it can kill you. But anyway, this particular time I was so thirsty and getting so tired and weak, I hadn't had anything to drink for about, since the early morning. It was mid-afternoon. I hadn't seen any houses or villages or wells or rivers, and it was a very hot time of the year, and I was walking. And I came to the top of a ridge, and I saw in the valley there was a small village of 5 or 6 houses. And I knew that one of those houses, from experience, we were the general store, where they would stock cigarettes, paraffin, sort of just maybe some rice and other essentials, for the local village. But I also knew from experience that in that general store they'd also have Pepsi Cola. Pepsi. And so, as I stood there on that ridge, I made a resolution. I said, this is my chance to see if there truly are devas. If there really are heavenly beings, I determined, let them offer me a Coca-Cola or Pepsi. I'm a good monk, I keep my precepts, and I'm doing what we're supposed to do, living simply and meditating, and I really am thirsty. Not thirsty because of desire, thirsty because I'm getting heat stroke. I need this. And I actually made that resolution. I thought this was a test to see if there really are devas. This is one time when I really need some help. So I walked into that village, and I was very mindful, silent, carrying my things, looking down 2 meters in front of me, never turning to the left or turning to the right, quiet. I walked past, and I could see in the corner of my eye that was a general store. But no one stopped. No one came out. I walked right past it. As soon as I walked past it, I thought, no, there aren't any devas. They don't exist. It's just a fantasy. Just some of the extra superstitions which stupid Buddhists had. But then as I walked past, about 2 or 3 meters past, having given up, I heard someone running after me, Nimon Kak. I turned around and had an open Pepsi for me. Now that might be just coincidence, but listen what happened next. Then another boy came out with an open Pepsi, then another one. A 4th one came soon afterwards, then a 5th one, followed by a 6th one, and a 7th one, and an 8th one, and finally a 9th one. I sat at a bench with 9 bottles of Pepsi in front. I can see it right now. Because you know that just as like 8 is a lucky number for Chinese, the lucky number for Thais is 9. Because the word for 9 is Gao, and Gao means like progress. So if ever they invite monks to a house, they always try and get 9 monks. There I was with 9 bottles of Pepsi, and I thought, crikey, these devas, they don't do things by half. They really want to make sure that I realise they exist by giving me not 1 Pepsi, that would be coincidence, but 9 Pepsis. That was actually making absolutely certain. That actually convinced me from that time that such beings do exist, and they do help people. I remember a friend of mine told me that story. He was a very good Buddhist, and he was wandering in the wilderness in the east coast of Australia. Australia is a huge continent, and there's places you can walk for days and days and days without seeing any human being, because most of the population live on the coast. You just go a little bit inland, and it's wilderness. Stretching for ever. He'd been walking for 3 or 4 days, hadn't seen anybody, and he was thirsty. He remembered my story. He told me this is where he got the idea from. Ajahn Brahm's 9 Pepsis. And he said, if there are devas, then I'm really thirsty too. And again, he told me this story, and it's unbelievable, but it's true. He turned a corner, there wasn't a person there, he saw on the rock like a packet of juice, of orange juice. Now there's these paper packets with a straw in it, opened, with no ants getting into it, but the amazing thing is, it was chilled. It was like as if it had just been taken out of the refrigerator, ready to drink. And this was in hot Australia. If a person left it there, they could have left it there only a few seconds ago, because